So, good evening, everyone. I know that more people are going to join in a little while, but I just want to make sure we kind of get started, make sure there's enough time left as well for Mr. Stewart here to get things going. So, um, a lot of you all were here yesterday, and a couple new ones here today. But I will just give the preamble about it, especially for this first week, as we have three mentors this week. So, just a short bit about it. The Caribbean Culture Fund is the body that is supporting this initiative. It was done in conjunction with Mr. Andrew Young, who is here with us on the call. And today we have Mr. Sean Stewart, also known as Mr. Spine. And I don't want to even understate an introduction for him, but he is very instrumental especially in the Caribbean space when it comes to soca music and more. So I want you all to know a bit more about Mr. Spine. He is the CEO, founder of Zig Boy Studios, and he has been responsible for a lot of the Soca Monarch winners and Soca Monarch hits over the last, 15, 20 years? Am I correct, Sean?
Yeah, about 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I will let him tell a bit more about himself, and then we will get into it just a little bit. Yeah, I would have sent to him some of your links to some of your pages, so he can give you some reviews on what's here, right? And also that he can expound upon in terms of what he has here, because he has a presentation here for you today as well. So I will let Mr. Spine take over. Sean, over to you. Introduce yourself, and I guess they will introduce themselves, and then we take it from there. All right.
Right. Let's good day, everybody. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure. It's my first time actually presenting something on music like this, so I will keep it as natural as possible. I like to kind of keep things interactive as well too. So this is not a presentation. This is more like a conversation. Let's get out the way first, right? So as Ario said, my name is Sean Stewart, also known as Spine. I'm the founder of what we call Zig Boy World. In terms of it's like an all-in-one entertainment company that delivers everything entertainment, from music production to promotion to publishing to basically everything within the space of entertainment, right? How did I get into music? Music was I would say my first love. I know it's some kind of cliche, but technically that is what it is, right? From ever since I know myself, music has always been a instrumental part in my life, my existence, everything, right? I started as an artist, wanted to be the superstar, this person on stage, shaking and entertaining people all around the world. Fortunately and unfortunately, I ventured into other things in the quest of becoming an artist. And I understand. Do we have any artists in here? We have anybody that is singers, entertainers, anybody?
Like he ain't reached yet. There was one yesterday session, like he's late.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep it moving. I understand the cries of our artists, and I definitely know that it is not an easy road to trod. So because of that, I had no choice. Like, I didn't come from a wealthy family where I had people to fund my goals and my aspirations. So I had to kind of get creative along the way. And because of that, I was able to discover and develop different sides of entertainment that I did not know was there. So through being an artist, I became a producer, because you need music, right? And plenty times you're trying to create, and your idea is not really getting where it needs to go, because the person that you're trying to explain it to not really understanding your expression. So, and then you're spending a set of money and you're still not getting what you want. So it's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna start dabbling in music production. And I was like at the age of 14, you know. And that is how I end up becoming a producer. Trying to create music for my friends, myself, and just trying to cut costs. And through that, the rabbit hole started running very deep because I'm the type of person that once I start doing something, I want to be able to know as much as I could on it. So finding short courses here, there, and everywhere. At that point in time here in Trinidad, really didn't have much people teaching music because we still were considered a hobby or not serious or nothing that you could create a living from, which was so far from the truth. But I went on the quest to find knowledge and to find information on how I could develop my production skills so that I could, you know, as I say, better my artistry as an artist and help my peers around me who was looking to get into that field as well. And going studio to studio, finding mentors, ended up in the University of Trinidad and Tobago. I did a degree in music production, music science. And I also ended up landing a deal in Universal as a writer and a producer. So I was able to work with some world-renowned artists, right? Usher, Akon, just to name a few. And the information that I gained abroad, I brought it back so that I can again try teaching and try sharing information in terms of production. There's different sides of spine. There's different sides to spine, a whole lot of different. I'm also into videography. I'm also into graphics. I'm also into animation. I'm also into a lot of things. But today I really want to focus on the music aspect and production, right? So with that being said, I want to ask a question. What is music to you guys? What does music mean to you? Anybody?
A vibe that hits your soul.
Nice. I like that. Music is a vibe that hits your soul. I like that. Anybody else?
Well, for me, music varies. Sometimes it's an escape from life's everyday struggles. Other times it's just a way to express myself.
So it's an expression. It's also a vehicle that could take you from point A to point B in terms of mood, in terms of time. Anybody ever hear a song and take them back to a place?
Yeah, man, enough that.
Right?
Yeah.
So music could be used in a whole lot of different ways. Music could heal you as well too. You know, if you're actually sick. Like I could give you a story, right? True story. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 prostate cancer. And at that point in time, I mean, that type of news is life-changing, right? One of the things that the doctor told my dad is stress. Stress is one of the number one reasons he got sick. Stress was one of the reasons why he got cancer. And to help with his treatment, one of the things that he recommended was that he listen to soothing music. You know, that was actually one of the reasons. In 2020, we created a song by the name of the Happy Song, which was actually the song that won Groovy Monarch in Trinidad here. That was literally a project that I took upon myself with me and my younger brother to create a piece of music that could actually help put my father in a better mood so that he could get better. You know, so music is not just something for entertainment is actually something that could take you from a down to up, or even take you from a up to a down as well too. Is also put you in time. It's like a time capsule, you know. So but the real essence of music is really a language, is a universal language that we use to communicate, and we use to preserve information, preserve time, preserve emotions, preserve everything around us, right? So this is why a music studio is so important, because that's the machine that you use to capture everything, from the energy to sound to emotion to, because once I translate that through the mic and we capture it and you hear it, you could feel what I was feeling in the moment, and that recording is there forever and ever, even longer than some of us live. So it is it's a very powerful tool, right? Also, we could use, like even back in the days in slavery and those things, we use music to communicate, right? We send messages through the music on social issues, things are wrong us, is something that you could use as a weapon as well. So music, I would say music is more than entertainment. It's a universal language that shapes emotion, unites people, tells stories that words alone cannot tell. You know, the importance of music in everyday life. What you think? What you think life would be without music? You could picture life without music. Anybody?
Well, I certainly can't. So,
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, music is everywhere, literally, from in movies, commercials, on the radio. Basically, everything is song. Everything is music. And we get so accustomed having it that we sometimes kind of not appreciate the value of it, and we kind of take it for granted. Just picture one day without any form of fashion of hearing music, or hearing song on the whole. Picture that for a moment, like your favorite movie. Picture that movie without song design or song on the whole. You think you might like that movie? So how are you doing music? You're doing a film production right now. You could imagine your whole movie without no music.
well, I mean, it wouldn't be a movie at all. Even silent movies have sound.
Yeah.
Stick with it.
So, and that's to show you the importance of sound, of music. I think it and sometimes it is even more important than dialogue, because you could play a sound,
Mhm.
and you could create an emotion through the sound that people could feel without even saying anything. So the power of music is so important in our everyday life. And that was one of the things that fascinated me in becoming a producer, like how music impact people and how music is used, and the ills and spills of it, because everything there is balance, there's pros and cons with everything. The good side, the bad side, how could you use the tools that you have through music, the power that the mystic, as I say, through music to impact people's lives and even change my own life. Like, all I did was music. Music basically gave me everything I have. So that is something that I cherish on a whole next level. This is not a hobby for me. This is not, by the way, some people look at it as that is fun and games. This is not fun and games for me. This is like what I do to literally survive, what I use to mind my family, and in the interim of everything, leave a legacy that could live longer than me. So music to me is something real close, and music have a lot of power, but with power also comes a lot of responsibility. And I think sometimes we tend to not remember that, and when we don't remember that, that can be very, very, very detrimental to our interaction with music. Um, I want to ask a question. Anybody in here? What do you think are some of the pros and cons of music?
When you say pros and cons, what do you mean?
All right, so in everything there's balance, right? So music is not always good. Music have a bad side to it as well. So
Yes.
just based off of your knowledge, what do you think are some of the good and some of the bad of music?
Music can be addictive. That could serve, depending on the type of music. The addiction may be good, and it could be bad. So that's what could be both pros and cons. Music are positive in terms of a positive meaning a pro. It could carry a message. So you may want to carry a message to an audience, and it carries the message. A con to music in terms of it may also carry a message that may not be in the best interest of the receiver. So that's where I take my leave. Hope that was helpful.
That was actually good. That was good. Anybody else?
Well, I mean, I will I will join in the discussion a little bit. Uh, Music, I mean, on the good side, you talk about healing and all of that. But just like there's healing, there are things that are destructive to your body and to your mind and to your spirit, you know? And it's important to pay attention to what we do and be cautious with that power that you have, you know, when it comes in, when you're looking at that in that sort of perspective.
Right. So I like what you touch on there. And that's literally where I wanted to go, because sometimes we hear songs and we like it and we feel, whatever we feel, but we don't understand the deeper depths of what is really happening to us now. So music is one of the few things that could actually touch those three things at the same time: body, mind, and spirit. And this is why it with the power of the music, the responsibility that comes with the power is so important to understand. Because ignorance is bliss, right? And the fact that some people might know or don't know doesn't mean that the exchange is not happening. So it's very, very important to be mindful of the power of music, and not only music but sound. Sound is the base of music, right? Now, I want to touch a little bit of the science now. Now, frequency, which is one frequency multiplied over a bandwidth. Now, our ear could only hear a certain amount of frequencies, right? Which from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz that is all the human could hear, right? So between that spectrum, we can hear and we can feel certain things, but that don't mean that there's beyond that, right? So Mama said music could be used as a weapon. If you tune music a certain way and you play certain hertz, certain frequency, you could be either constructive or destructive. And that is some of the mystics and some of the science that music possess. This modern world that we're living in, the people who control this world, they understand that, and that is why they kind of lock or hide certain things from us so that we can tap into certain things. right? If you're going to do some research to the Nazi war, Germany and Hitler and them, they use frequencies to fight war, like to kill people, to disrupt and to damage the opponents. Frequency. So this is not no play. And the same way it could be disruptive and destructive, you could also use it to heal you, like heal your cells, heal your body, heal your mind, heal your spirit, literally. But it's all about touching the right frequency and tuning into the right resonance that appeals to your body. Because our body we are conductors, right? And according to how the frequency resonates with us, it may be positive or negative. Fast tracking a little bit. Certain chords and certain instruments resonate a certain way that gives you positive and negative as well. So if I want to, I could play a piece of, like, I could take a violin, for example, and play a violin in a specific arrangement, and I can make you feel real sad. You don't know why you're sad, but you just real, your body will just feel a certain way. Or I could take a piano and play it in a certain way and make you so happy. You just real happy. And that is because of the power of frequency and the power of music, right? The hit makers, they understand that. They understand what instrument to use when they're creating their music. So they is literally mood that they're creating, and they know exactly what stroke to play when, how to play it to get a specific reaction, right? Some people might be conscious of certain things, some people might not be conscious, but it still will give you a reaction, and they will want to know about why I like this song, why this song feeling like this, why this song, when I hear this song, it just make me go in a certain mood. It put me in a certain feeling, you know. And that is the power of music. For example, when you go to church, most churches, they use what are some of the instruments that they use in the church? Let me ask you all.
Guitar.
Right,
Drums, keyboard, piano.
right,
Organ.
right. Important. What again?
Voices.
Very important. Very important, right? Now, most of the instruments that you all just identified have something in common. What do you think it is?
String instruments.
Yeah, some of them.
They produce melody.
That is one of them, yes. What else? Anybody else? All right, so let me tell you what it is. The voice, the resonance of the voice, the human voice, it starts at 200 hertz to 5,000 hertz, right? And most of the, so in other words, is like low mids to high. All those instruments, with the exception of the drum, falls in that exact category. So this is why, you know, the communication to the human body is literally like you're playing all of them doing the same thing. Hence the reason they all use those instruments in churches, because they could translate messages and vibration through that. Now, let me call our next instrument. Let me just say a saxophone. Anybody familiar with a saxophone or a trumpet?
Mhm.
How often do you see those in churches?
Not often.
Actually, very often.
Saxophone and trumpets?
Yeah, especially in like choirs are deep worship songs that they like to emphasize
Right.
a
Now,
strong message across.
now hear this, right? I'm in the studio here. If I pull up
Something.
recordings of the actual waves that I will capture in the mic that a guitar would make, a keyboard would make, piano would make, an organ would make, even the vocal, the voice would make. And I pull up and I compare one with a trumpet or a saxophone or a trombone or any brass instrument, you would notice that the waves look different. Without even hearing it, by just looking at the waves, you'd see that it's different. Why do you think that is?
The saxophone covers a wider range.
Yeah, well, the saxophone is like the vocal, is like the voice. The saxophone is very similar to the human voice.
So, but I think the frequency, because the saxophone is really a wind instrument.
Right. Saxophone is a brass instrument.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Wind instrument would be a flute or uh, even some organs are wind instruments.
Mhm.
Right. But the reason for that is the resonance on how it works and how it works with the human body, how you interpret the instrument is very different from the string instruments and the other instruments that we identified before. So like a violin might be able to fall into that category as well, right? So when you're selecting your instruments, long story short, when you're selecting your instruments, you have to know why you're selecting your instruments, what mood you're trying to create, and also most important, what resonance you want people to feel. Right? Now, we in the Caribbean here, we like soca. And one of the main things for soca is rhythm, drums. Right? Now, the speed of a song, let's move away from resonance and let's move away from instrumentation and whatnot, right? Let's go with speed now. Speed is calculated in music by beats per second, or also known as BPM, right? If you speed up a song, just by speeding up a song or slowing down a song, it will make you feel different. Why is that?
Frequencies. If you change the speed of the song, you change the frequency of the
Correct.
song.
Correct.
And that itself impacts how
How
even
you
the
feel.
tuning of the instruments, everything that you're hearing, that is affected by the speed.
Correct. Right? So selecting the right speed. Now let me give you a little tip again, right? Anybody know what is the heart, or anybody know what is the most common BPM used to create a hit song?
Is it 120?
You know what? Everybody Google it now.
Wait, does the genre matter?
Let
It
them
don't
type
matter.
it in. Let them
The
type
genre
it
don't
in.
matter.
Let them type
Okay.
it in the chat.
Type it in the chat here.
Let them type it in the chat.
All right, so I see somebody saying 90 to 99 BPM. Okay. 100 to 130 BPM, 80 to 100. Right. Right, so Kaya. Okay. So you see the genre varying, right? But if you look at the Billboard charts, which is the biggest songs in the world, you would notice that most of them, the speed of most of them on average is around 100 BPM to 110 BPM. Why do you think that is?
Heartbeat.
On average, now it depends on your age, also depends on how fit you are, but the average person heartbeat is from about 80 BPM to 100 BPM. And again, this is just the relation between music and human. Once you match that and that BPM, that BPM is comfortable with you, naturally you'll just feel good because that is your natural rhythm. So it's, in other words, the song and your natural movement or your natural rhythm within yourself, once that harmonize or that start to work together, naturally you would just like it. Just because of the speed of the song. Have nothing to do with the chords, have nothing to do with the instrumentation, nothing. Just the speed alone will make you like a song or not like a song. Right? And that is also something that we in the Caribbean need to pay close attention to, especially if we're trying to create something for everybody, not just for ourselves and our cultural background, you know, that our way of life. And I saw sometimes too, you could tell the type of people just by the way they create music, just by the way they dance. You could tell if somebody have vibes or if they don't have vibes, as we just see, just by the song that they create. Latin music play a certain way, Afrobeat play a certain way. You could tell the type of people how they live, how they behave, because based on the type of music that they create. Hip hop music make you feel a certain way. Reggae music make you feel a certain way. Soca make you feel a certain way. You could tell the people just based on the composition of the music and the mood that they create through the music. Anybody agree?
100%, man.
Right? So music tells a lot about people. Music tells a lot about life. Music, as I say, is a time capsule. It could take you from point A to point B. It could it could heal you, it could build you up, it could break you down. It could yes, I just wanna check something here quick. 1 second. Um I want to ask a question. Anybody here produces music? Anybody?
Yeah, to some extent. Still studying it though.
Okay, cool. So the elements of music. Anybody know the elements of music? Anybody? All right, so I'm going to list the elements of music, right? First thing, melody. Anybody know what's a melody? What is your definition of melody? Anybody there? Anybody?
Hey guys, don't be shy. Make sure you all give your
You could
responses.
say melody is the main part or the heart of the song.
Yes, yes, yes. Right. I would say melody is the main theme or the main tune of the song, right? So that's one element of music. Another element of music, obviously, if you have a melody, after melody, what comes next?
Think is your harmony.
Correct. All right. So the harmony is the chord or how they support the melody. Anything that support the melody, anything that is in tandem with the melody is harmony, right? And the third element of music is what?
Rhythm.
Um, yes and no. So the rhythm, the tempo, the groove, right? All of that is the melody will carry that, right? But I would say the dynamics. And when I say dynamics, what I mean is the loudness or the softness of what you create. So this music is silence and sound. So because it can't be loud, because then it just be irritating, right? So, and even when you're composing your melodies too, you don't want to keep your melody on one note, or then it's not really a melody, it's just a song. So what you want to do is have the ups and downs, the hills and valleys, the silence and song, the variation. You want to vary it. So that way, it creates a level of pleasure, a level of appeal, right? So that dynamics, the loudness and the softness of it, right? That is what that is our next important element of music. And also you have something called timbre. Anybody know what timbre is?
Mm.
Hello, good afternoon. Sorry about being late.
Let's say good evening, bro.
Is that the unique tone quality of the song?
Correct. The tone, the color of the song. So for example, the human voice. The human voice is a very unique instrument. Everybody have different, I mean, the vocal register, it registers from 200 hertz to 5,000 hertz. But the tone, the tonality of the instrument, the tonality of the voice is what gives it its unique characteristic and the unique trait, the unique signature. So that when you hear that voice, it will make you feel like, for example, Beres Hammond. Beres Hammond he is one of the most prolific reggae singers in the Caribbean, not because he might have the prettiest voice, but because of his tone. You know, Beres can't sing like Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston, but when you hear Beres, you could feel Beres. Taurus Riley is an next person like that too. They have this tone about them, right? And we call it timbre, right? And then the sixth element of music is the form, which is the structure of the music in terms of like how you compose, be it your verse, your chorus, your bridge, your pre-chorus, that type of thing, in which order, how you arrange that structure. That right there is what we call the form. So when you comprise all these things together and you use it right, these are the things that you could now use to create a good piece of music or even create hits within those departments, right? Producers, any producers like in here? Any
I am.
Yeah,
what
but still studying.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm a producer.
what DAW are you familiar with?
I use Reaper, Pro Tools, Logic, and Ableton.
Okay, and
FL Studio or Logic Pro.
okay, so all those stuff is digital interfaces, right? You're familiar with live recording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have to compare the both of them, what would you say is the difference?
The from the when I do the live, you get a more natural feel. Yeah, I think it'll be able to more control the feel and the tone of the song, whereas you're kind of limited with digitally recorded with analog stuff. because there's only so much you could do if you create it from a computer with analog, rather than if you do live recording.
And why do you think that is?
I would say the human touch.
Human touch is one, but there's something very important there to unpack. Anybody else? Why you think that is?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Why do you think a digital song is different from a live song?
For me, digital sounds are basically emulations of what the live song actually is. So it's more like a computerized tonality as compared to the actual raw live instruments that you're hearing. So just digitally, it's more like a reproduction of the actual sound, and it's sometimes more robotic if the emulation isn't very in depth, as in something like 444.1 kilohertz quality versus something at 96.
Right. So you touch on some important things there. 441 kilohertz. What that mean to you?
For me, it's basically how many times per second the audio is basically getting repeated. 44,100 times per second.
Right. Now, I know you just came in the class, right? So we were talking on something, and I would just like to go back a little bit just so we could touch on it. Now that 441, right? That was not always the frequency that we used to capture music or song. That is something new. You know that, right? You there?
Oh, is that to me? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And the purpose of that is because that is a destructive frequency. You familiar with that?
Yeah, specifically because the 441 was mainly used for like CD recording, and it was introduced for putting onto CD. But as they
Right.
got to like 96 and those stuff, the quality headroom got much higher.
Right. Now, once we got into the digital world, and with the invent of the AWs that we're using and we're discussing right now, you find that frequency started becoming very popular, and they started kind of pulling away from the other bandwidths because of the what's the right word I want to use? Because of the benefits of it, right?
No problem. Yeah.
Because of the benefits of the
Right.
other frequencies is why they start hiding them. They start like literally getting rid of it, right? So like myself, like I was literally just mixing some live drums, right? Me personally, I love to record live music. One being the information that you capture is a lot more. You could put a whole lot more feeling, emotion, information into the recording, right? And then it also gives me the opportunity to do more in terms of my creative process, right? The analog versus the digital, which is what we're discussing. The digital space, it very limited. It almost feels sometimes like cardboard, if that is the best way to express it. Plan and just square, right? So you find out the behavior of the music, how it behaves in the DAW compared to live engineering or live instrumentation or live recording is two totally different processes. So in this world that we living in now, everybody is DAW, everybody is digital. In our forefathers' time, no digital, everything was analog. So you find the behavior of human of society of the world, the behavior of humans was totally different, we were a lot more calmer, we are a lot more peaceful, we are a lot more loving, we are a lot more energetic, we were stronger in every aspect. And then with the invent of DAWs and this new frequency that follow, it started destroying what we know as good song quality, right? So I would advise that we could probably do a little more research, and I mean, I wouldn't have enough time to go into the depths of that cross up, but for the people who are interested and people who are into it, especially if you really want to be a good producer, I would advise you strongly to go and do some research on understanding the powers of the analog song and the frequency in which it should be recorded in compared to the DAW, which is a digital song, and the frequency in which it is recorded in. And do some comparison and see what you discover. All right. I want to leave on a few things. I want to talk on word, sound, and power. When you hear word, sound, and power, how does that make you feel? What does that say to you? Anybody?
Yeah, sorry again. I didn't fully hear I only heard the sound and sound part.
Right. So word, sound, and power. When you hear that phrase, how does that make you feel? What does that mean to you?
To me, that speaks of the parts of the vocal which the singer sings in to make the song, bring the song home, or with which they want to communicate the song. Meaning the lyrics that they use, the type, the song or the voice, and the power is how loud or soft they feel that they give up the message behind the song.
You're close, but not fully. Anybody else?
I'm not sure how far from Mauritius, but I mean, would refers to the lyrics. Power, I think, is the effectiveness of the particular lyrics. But that's what I have thus far.
All right. So originally, word, sound, and power is a phrase that most Rastas or Rastafarians and they use that, right? And it's because they ever hear the saying, life or death is in the power of the tongue.
Yep.
Right. That is the word. Right. So when we're creating music, when we're creating a piece that people are gonna hear, you have to be very mindful of the word that you put in that, because that is what is going to travel as far as four corners of the earth. The word, and that word could be very productive or very disruptive, right? So that word is very important. Now, song is the vibration, the melody, the rhythm, the medium that carries the message. So in other words, song is the vehicle, right? You put the word on the song, and that is when it reaches its destination, wherever that might be, right? And we as humans, we as I say, we ingest song in a certain way. Now, sometimes we hear it through our ears, but we not only, as I said in the earlier part of the conversation, music could touch you in 3 different places at the same time. It could touch you physically, it could touch you mentally, and it could touch you spiritually. Right? So that sound, when that song reaches, when that song hits, it hits 3 places at the same time. A lot of people don't think that far. But remember, that song will deal with you consciously, subconsciously, and superconsciously, right? So when we creating music, or when we listening to music, when we exchanging that experience, you have to know what you are exposing yourself to, right? Because those two things gives you the power. So word, song, and power. What is the power? The power is the emotional, the cultural, and sometimes the political impact and spiritual impact that music have on society, have on everything. When election happening, why does run fast to find the artists, the most popular artists? Because even the politicians can't even do what the artists do. Not even why in the church they have to run fast and set up the choir. Because even within the praise and worship, pastor can reach people the way the music would reach people. That is how powerful music is. That is how powerful word, song, and power is. Even in the Bible, there's a special category for musicians in Psalms. Why is that? Why do have a category for doctors and lawyers and carpenters and mechanics? Why musicians? Anybody?
Music is like the universal language.
That is the basic of everything. So the musical or the universal language that music carries, it don't just stop at face value. It transcends boundaries, it transcends age, it transcends cultural background, ethnicity, it transcends social and economical differences. It is a very powerful tool that could lock and unlock societies, right? So word, song, and power, keep that, build on it, understand the importance of that, because if you really want to be a musician, if you really want to do music, if you really want to, even if it's a lover of music, and you have that relationship, you have to be able to understand the importance of those three things: word, sound, and power, so that you can make the right decisions when you're exposing yourself to word, sound, and power. Right?
Before
So
before you move on,
mhm.
just just to clarify, word does not refer to lyrics. Word is basically whatever you want the song to achieve.
Word is word, just as what it is. So what is our word? Word is message,
Okay, okay,
right?
all right. That clears it up for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
So
a question.
tell me.
I don't normally have questions, but I do have a question here. And it's about intent.
Right.
Because on top of all that we create, there's an intent that people have when they create music.
Correct.
And that is felt in your timbre, it is felt in the way you play, it is felt in the way you record, you know? And I wonder if you could touch on that a little bit.
Well, a deep thing, eh? Now, purpose is everything. Like if a man without purpose is a man without direction, right? And it's the same thing with intent. If you don't have intent, you will not fulfill what you're doing, why you're doing. Like you wouldn't have no reason for what you're doing. Now, mood, feeling, emotion is what you really and truly capturing, be it good or bad, be it negative or positive, right? So when you come to the space where we capture, which is we call the studio, right? And your energy or your intent is negative, we would feel that. I could feel that. The listener, the person that is going to patronize with your music, they're going to feel exactly that. Now, and that's why I ask the questions: what are the pros and cons of music, right? Now we also have to be very mindful who the originator of music is, because Lucifer was he was the maker and the creator of music. He was the archangel of song, right? And when he got banished out of the heavens and he came down to the earth and he ended up becoming Satan, he did not lose his power. The power was always there still. And a matter of fact, he uses music to flex his muscle. And that is why I asked the question, why do you think in the Bible there's a place for musicians? Why do you think? It's very important. So it is also important to also clear and be very clear with your intention and your intent of what you are creating. Because if it's not positive, it's negative. If it's not a plus, it's a minus. Follow me? So it is very, very, and that's why I brought forth this three words: word, sound, and power. Once you understand those three things and how it works and what it governs, then you should be on the right path to creating something out that is of standard and of substance. So that is it. Anybody have any other questions?
Well, I see Odysseus stated he wanted to communicate with you after about his projects and songs.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. The information I could
I
put
don't know
my
if anyone wants to share their music within the session as well. To share that, and possibly you can give some reviews at some point.
right. So I just put my email address in the
Chat.
I just pinned it. So anybody that want to communicate with me after the conversation, feel free, hit me up on my email and we'll take it from there.
I have a question, but it is not necessarily music related. So I don't know if now is the time to ask it or later. You let me know.
No, you could ask it now.
The name Spine.
Right.
How did that come about?
Good question. All right. So a little backstory on me, right? The name was given to me. I didn't call myself that one. It was given to me by my uncle. He was a DJ in Trinidad, but I was always like, from ever since, as I said, always intrigued by music, always intrigued by song. So I was always this little skinny guy around big people trying to fit in or trying to be a part of what they're doing with the old, like back in the days, they had those big sound system with those big speaker box and those records and whatnot. I was the little 6-year-old guy that will put on a crate and I will put on a big headphones on my hair and I will be playing records at that age. 6, 7 years old, I was playing records at that time. So my uncle, because I was real skinny and always trying to fit and be in the middle of big people, he called me Spine. But the power of spine, or the word spine, or the name spine, after getting older and understanding the importance of it, I embraced it, because the spine is the central nervous system of the body that basically governs everything, right? The brain is directly connected to the spine. Without the spine, you can't function. And funny enough, the name Spine give me a lot of strength, because I had plenty times where this journey that I was on, or that I'm still on, where music and entertainment is concerned, is a rough, hard, like, if you don't have thick skin, I'd advise anybody, don't try to do this, right? You really have to have that passion and really have to have that love for this to really and truly go all the way with this. And I don't regret it. I fully appreciate where it brought me. I fully appreciate the fruits of my labor, and I fully appreciate the impact that I was able to make through the music. And the name Spine always remind me of my purpose and always remind me of my place and my position in society. you know, and I'm one of the youngest producers in Trinidad that created basically countless hits for the old and the young. I was able to be part of 3 generations of music. Um, I birthed 2 in terms of like the Millionaire Family in Trinidad. That's it, Orlando Octave, Kerry John, Macamillion, Swappy, Buffy. That was like the era before this era. And this era, that era that I created, birthed this next era with youths where we call here in Trinidad, the Trinidad movement. I am very instrumental in creating that movement and developing youth, especially, and developing young talent where we could now export and change lives and a whole lot of things. So that name Spine, yeah, is very, very, very instrumental and important to me and my existence in music. Any other questions?
Spine, I have one question here again.
Mm-hmm.
It is if you can talk a little bit about your journey in the music business side of things.
Right. Now, you can't have music without music business. Music and music business, or music and business, and the whole go together. Unless you don't want to strive or you don't want to have a good career. Because to start with, you need money to do music. It is not cheap, right? And if it is you want to be in this for any period, be as short as possible, you need to know how to manage money. Also, you need to know what is yours, what is your rights. How do you take music and make it something that could pay you, right? The good thing about music have different departments and compartments that you could get paid from. So you could take one song and split that in about 7 different parts that you can get paid from, which I love. One song. Because if I'm a shoemaker and I make one shoe, I could only sell that shoes once. Right? Because it's one shoe. But if I make one song, I could sell that one song 1,000,000 times. The same one song. And even in that one song, I could then break that apart and get paid for the different compartments of that one song as well. A lot of people don't know this, right? So there's different rights that governs a song. There is copyright, there's sync rights, there's master rights, there's the neighboring rights, right? And there's a whole heap of other things that you could now generate income from. There's publishing, right? And it's a whole heap of different streams of income that you can now generate from that. But it's important to know this so that you can benefit from it, because for a very long time, and I sure you all and all to probably hear the cries where certain people in music, boy, this one Robin May, boy, this plenty icons, dead poor because they didn't really utilize the catalog the right way. They've been doing it and they didn't understand their rights, and people take advantage of them. So if it is you're getting into this business, I'm telling you, super, super duper important that you understand your rights and you exploit it in the right way so that you can benefit from it. Yeah, because I say music is real estate. A song, you create a song today, that could pay for 50 years. Your children could get paid from your catalog. You know, it could literally leave real estate for your family through music, and it have laws that govern that as well too. So yeah.
Fantastic. Any advice that you have for them that are getting into the music business side of things? Because I want to open the floor for some of our musicians here and people that have been involved in music, their questions that they have in terms of getting involved in that, monetizing themselves, promoting themselves, that sort of thing. I just want to get into that there with them. Maybe we can probably close with with something like that?
Yeah, most definitely. One of the main advice I'll give anybody, if you're doing music, make sure that the passion is there. Because without the passion, it's the product that you're gonna be creating not gonna last. Because the passion is what people gonna feel, the passion is what gonna draw everything to you. Without passion, it have nothing that is going to last. Secondly, if you're doing something, educate yourself about what you're getting into. Don't run into things crazy helter skelter. Like even me, when I started, it didn't have much schools or much people doing what I am doing, or even to teach or even mentor. Right. So I had to literally sometimes I had to go to studios, the well-known studios, and pay studio time just to go and sit in the studio and ask a million questions because they had nobody to really teach me how to do this thing. But I was so passionate and this is what I wanted. So that's the road I took. Now, today, information is everywhere, literally on your fingertips. So you have no reason to not know. If you don't know, it's because you don't want to know. And as we say, ignorance is bliss. There's a price to that. Right? So educate yourself on what you're getting into so that you could maximize your fullest potential, and also you'll make better decisions on based on what you want to achieve in life. So that's the two things I would say. Do it with passion and educate yourself.
All right, great. All right. Um, well, let's open the floor for the guys to tell us about themselves as well, their journey in music, and you can probably chime in their spine. Let's keep the conversation, keep it as a conversation, and see their aspirations, what they want to achieve, and how we can possibly help make them at least help them along their journey. Yeah.
Come on, for sure.
All right. So, it's an open floor, so anyone here can start up and go forward.
Okay, well, I don't mind starting with anyone, if everyone doesn't mind. My name is Rashid Rock. Of course, I'm from St. Vincent. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, mix and mastering engineer. I've been into music since I was like very, very young. I went from singing in choirs to being the lead vocalist for a band I formed in school. We continued till I was outside school. Then I just started to get into music production. I've just recently launched my own independent record label. um, I'm looking to basically just be a drive to like further push creatives in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially. I've titled myself as a multi creative, because I basically have my hands in different facets of different parts of the creative industry. Experience wise, I've been releasing music, mix and mastering music as well, and promoting music. I've done my fair share of songs. I've had persons who recorded with me enter our local Soca Monarch finals. They've also won our rural Soca Monarchs as well. And outside of that, I'm expanding my business further out of St. Vincent. Supposed to do a collaboration soon with a studio in Chicago for a podcast as well. So I'm basically networking and just building my brand as a singer-songwriter and also as a mixing master engineer and uh, record label owner. Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. Nice. I mean, you sound like you're on the right path, and you sound like you're already um into it, like fully into hands on, right? So that's a good thing. Um, tell me something in terms of how long you been doing this, Rashid?
Oh, sorry, my mic is muted. Yeah, music wise, I've been basically into music since I was 4, 6, around that age. Um, Professionally, with the band, I started when I was around 14. We were doing paid shows as me as the lead vocalist. As a mix and mastering, as a producer and mix and mastering engineer, I would say from around 2017. But I really started to ramp up my business post COVID. So basically around 2021, 2022, when I really started to focus more on the business end of mix and mastering and basically spreading my services out to other artists and stuff.
Okay, nice. And how was that journey for you so far?
For me, I would say the journey, basically the journey wasn't, I wouldn't say it was difficult. I just more say it's just like life. It has its ups and downs. It has its empty spots. It has its very productive and expansive areas, and it's just basically going with the flow and networking as much as I can with as many local producers, local artists, international producers, international artists as possible, and basically expanding my framework in the business however way I can, whether it's through online or through at fets and events and those type of things. It's basically outreach. So it's just basically basically paving my path in it with hard work, I would say.
Yeah. The reason why I asked, I know this journey don't it's not an easy one, yeah. It's I see plenty. What's your age again?
I'm 23, turning 24.
23, 24, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. All right, nice man. Keep it going, keep your head up. I mean, life is what you make it, yeah? So even when things might get rough, there's always a solution to that problem. And problems, I always say problems equals money. Because once you find solution to your problem, then you can also solve other people's problems that might have that same problem. So just keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I guess I'll go. I started music around the age of 8. I started learning the guitar and singing in church. I was on the worship team for some time, played in several bands in church and in school. Um, I officially started my career aspiring with my career in about 2015, where I won the 2015 Gospel Fest New Song Contest. Ever since then, I traveled a bit to several different countries in the Caribbean and the States where I went on that agency back then was Vinci Marketing. But I would say I really got into pushing music around after, just before COVID, where I started launching my own label because I wanted, rather than just singing and playing an instrument, I really wanted to be involved in like the full aspect of it, from starting and writing a song to seeing it produced, mixed, mastered, released, and the full bought and see how a song could thrive. Um, I would say between last year to this year is when I've been really, I found myself even going more harder because I'm saying it's not worthwhile pursuing it if I can't make a full career out of it. So I've been really pushing to see how far and wide I could network and build a good catalog and repertoire in it thus far.
All right, nice. Um, I will tell you a little bit about something I discovered, right? Because of how I my journey and how I started. I started as an artist too, and this journey took me on a whole roller coaster into a whole heap of different things. So after being an artist, became a producer, then I became a mix engineer, then I became a DJ, then I became a promoter, then I started doing videos, I started doing graphics, editing, a whole heap of things, right? Now, I will tell you this. When I got an opportunity to go to Universal Records and I was working as a producer slash writer, I left Trinidad and I went up there and I thinking, well, that is the right thing to do. But one thing I learned real fast, if you really want to be good at something, do one thing at a time. Focus on one, get get yourself to a certain level, and then move on to the next. Because sometimes when you do too much, you don't really see your full potential in those areas now. So if you're a producer, focus on production. Understand the fullness of production. Let somebody else do the mixing for the while. And the product will be better. Rather than you trying to do everything. Like function like a factory. There's an assembly line in a factory. So let me say you're making cars. You focus on building the front door alone for now. Let somebody else do the back doors, let somebody else do the bumper. But that when by the time everybody finish the assembly line, you'll turn over plenty cars rather than you alone trying to do the whole car by yourself. You know, and you will get a better product. And then from there, you can then probably switch places with somebody and then go from there. And that's what I did. And I saw a lot more productivity and a lot more profit from doing that because one, I wasn't able to burn out as fast as I used to. Two, the quality of the production on which I was creating was a lot higher because then I was able to bounce ideas around and vibes with other people around the same feel as me, and we was able to come up with something even 100 times better than just me alone sitting down trying to do everything. I mean, sometimes it might sound ambitious, it might sound cool, but in the interim and the full spectrum of things is really not the best thing to do. That's just some of my advice.
Yeah, that's an advice I really adhere to. So thanks.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anybody else?
If I may jump in, I think I beat you to it there, sorry. Yeah,
Go ahead.
all right, so well, I've been playing music for over 20 years now, and there was a period where I wanted to make music a career. Unfortunately, I fell into that whole traditional mindset that music, especially in the Caribbean, well, St. Vincent, isn't going to give you, or give me rather, uh, a worthwhile life. I mean, and so I, I, I remained in that mindset for quite some time. I even lost the passion that was there for music. Um, I once dabbled with DAWs and did a few arrangements and one guy jokingly said to me, "You have any beats?" And I just gave him something. I was like, to see, it didn't blow up as anything per se. But I recently started finding back that passion and I'm really grateful for Sario Kida and this forum that we have here. And I'm sure others on the call are grateful for the nuggets that you're sharing. Um, and well, Sario mentioned the business side of things, and I think more and more young and upcoming musicians, artists are eager to learn more about that business aspect of things. I mean, of course, developing your craft and mastering it so you're the best that you possibly can be and have something that's marketable. So for me, for instance, I mean, I already have a quote unquote traditional career that I don't intend to stay in for the rest of my life. But that passive income part of music and audio production, that's something I'm very interested in. So if ever there's a chance to expand on that, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, man, most definitely. I mean, most times, right? And that is one of the things I'm trying really hard to change, especially here in Trinidad and by the extension the Caribbean, right? Because of the nature of the job, just like with now, like the times we living in now, if your son or your kids say, "Mommy, Daddy, I would love to be a content creator," you might want to know, well, boy, I send you to school all these years to do work and spend all this money behind you in school with books and this and that, and you come out and want to tell me you want to be a content creator, you might want to give them some licks, isn't it, right? But do you know, in this day and age, in this time today, that is one of the most paid jobs,
Yes, it is.
right? But you see, the older mindset, they don't know that. And it's because they don't do the research and the due diligence to do better and to know better, right? I'll give you a little backstory on myself. Oh, I used to play sport, right? I used to play football for Trinidad, actually, right? My father, he was a well-known sportsman, well-known. Like he he been to 3 Olympics, right? He was also a football coach. He had records in Trinidad, all kind of stuff. So obviously he would, and what made it even worse, he was also a school teacher, right? He wanted me to follow, obviously, in his footsteps because that is what he thought brought him. That was his way out, because he came from humble beginnings, right? So when I told my father and I told my parents that I wanted to do music, I actually got 2 football scholarships that I turned down because I wanted to do music. You think that sit well with them? It was far from okay. And that's what I say. If this is what you really love, and this is what you really want to do, and you can't live a day without it, do it. Because it go haunt you forever. And I rather do something that I really love than do something that I don't really like. I'm comfortable, I might be living comfortable, but I'm really not comfortable with myself. Me personally, I made that decision early o'clock, and it's because I had a conversation with my mother one day. I asked her, I said, "Ma, why come here to do?" She said, "Well, you have to know. Usually you alone could find your purpose." I said, "But how you just find your purpose? What is that?" She said, "What is the one thing you could do all the days of your life for free without even having a problem doing it and you're comfortable doing it? Or what is the one thing that you could do that you just do so effortless and with money or without money, you're happy doing it?" The only thing I could think about was music. And from that time to today, all I did was music. Now, with the pressures of my parents on my back, with the mindset that they have, that this is a hobby, this is games, you're just making noise, you ain't going to amount to nothing from this. I take a deep dive into learning and educating myself, especially on the business of music. Because I told myself, if I could identify one person in music that is, to me, successful, then it could have a second one, which is me. And any and everything that they did, I will use it as a blueprint to better myself in this field, which I did. And thank God, I mean, life is what you make it, right? So the work that I put in, it paid off. At the age of 21, I was able to buy my first car cash, is a Lexus. I still have it to this day because it's something close to me. And I did that in Trinidad. And I built myself to where at this age, I'm 37 today. And I built 3 production studios, right? The last studio that I built was $1.3 million, TT dollars. And everything that I do, I was able to create other businesses from this music business that I do. You know, I didn't just stay in music. I was able to create capital and put it into other businesses where that I can now live comfortable and mind my family and see the world and do everything that I want to do with my life through music. Everything that I do is just, you know, around the entertainment business. And then I was able to create other sub businesses from this entertainment business. So I don't just stay to the music production. I have a company that do basically everything where events is concerned. I have Trusting Lights, Screen Stage. We have a song company. We do management of artists. We do events on our own. We tour. We have a band. I manage. You know, it's basically all the other streams of income from the entertainment I created. I have a business where I do my own merch. I have a printing press. And we created different streams. We do publishing. I have a publishing company as well. And it's all entertainment, it's all fun, it's all love. I enjoy every aspect of it. But I didn't just look at it one dimension in the way that the typical old schooler would just say, well, that is just them who go and sing a song and the promoter to pay them. And I said, that is definitely not it. And my job right now is not just to do it and set an example, but it's also to teach it and share the knowledge with others who might want to venture down that way. You know, so that is where I'm at right now. I'm in the process of launching a program by the name of Big and Serious, where is a nation building program where I'm gonna go across Trinidad and Tobago, and after that, by extension, come out to the Caribbean, extend it throughout the Caribbean, where we can now show, teach, and develop youth and young talent in different parts of the entertainment world. So the business is a very, very, very lucrative business, very lucrative business, and you just need to do it right. You know, once it's done right, as I say, music will only treat you the way you treat it. Once you treat it right, you're gonna take care of you. And I'm living testimony that music could you could live good right here in the Caribbean. So yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. I know Grenan, you just joined not long ago. I'm not sure if you're able to talk with us this time. Are you able to speak? Grenan?
Yeah, I did, but I'm going home, so I interested. I
Oh,
will when I reply, respond when I reach home.
all right, no problem. No problem. All right. Um, Let us go with Leonardo. Hi, Leonardo.
Hello.
Hi, you'd want to introduce yourself and, a bit about you and your background and how music has impacted your life. And, just tell us more about yourself and your journey in music and what you intend to do. Hi, Leonardo.
Um,
Hi, Leonardo. Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
My name is Leonard Charles. I grew up in a nuclear family, but since my mom and my dad broke up, we lived separately. I have went through a lot of struggles, and as a kid, growing up, I used to go to church a lot, and time to time, I started to love singing. So one time at Bible Church of God of Prophecy, I sing, and the pastor told me, you have a talent and continue one day we reach far. So from that day, I always think a lot for music and also working on my songwriting skills. Also working on my vocals. And as I said, I really want to become a pianist. So I planning to take piano lessons in August, in September. And also the person who I have called is also a vocal coach. So I will be working on my vocals more and taking piano lessons. Yeah.
Well, that's nice, man. Keep it up.
Yes, yes, that is very good. Very good. Music is very important to all of us here in many different ways. You know, I just want to say it is a journey. Um, I myself, I had my journey in music. Have a band. Well, Mr. Spine knows all about that. He's even recorded for us as well some time ago. Um, and music is a journey, and you really have to be dedicated along that pathway, and you also have to become educated about everything, and everything that he has said here, resonates with me, and I'm sure it will resonate with you as well. Um, Sean, is there anything else you want to impart, or in terms of your plan here today as well?
I think we covered everything. I think we touched on everything I wanted to touch on. Yeah, I think I'm okay.
All right. All right, great. So I know it was a short session today, but what we can do, I guess next week you get into some of the meat and potatoes of it. Next week, and you're digging a little deep. Take a look at the stuff that they have as well, and as we have that open sort of discussion, help them build out what the structure of their music business might look like next week. All right. And
Yeah, most definitely. So what I'm gonna do, I will take a look at the links you sent to me, and
mhm.
then I will come back and I will share some information and knowledge on how we could go from there to betterment now.
Yes, definitely, definitely. But before I go, I know Janelle, I know you, at least in your application, you didn't say that you were a music, into music, but it seems that you are very much involved, and I wanted you to, share a bit about yourself as well here, before we go. All right, Janelle. And if you're speaking, your mic is off. But she might have stepped away. But perhaps next week. All right. But it was definitely a joy to be here, listening in as well. And it is good to have everyone here that's involved in that creative space. So just a reminder to all of you, the outcomes of this entire program that we're doing over the next 6 weeks or so is one that you can either choose to create something new, and I'm saying that you're going to either create new music, or you are going to utilize what you have here and tie it into another piece of media, which is the micro dramas. And so those that are involved in their music, if you want to create avenues for your music, one of them being creating micro dramas for additional distribution of your music, that is what we're going to begin on Friday in terms of that sort of talk. And we're going to start with the writing and the structure of a microdrama. All right. So it'll be good to see you guys on Friday, and we'll see how and where we're going to take it, from there. And so also at the end of this, of course, there's a production side of that, and where you'll produce something new. But the second part is also we will be coming to SVG probably in the third or fourth week of this installment here. We will be shooting that microdrama within that period. All right. So without any further delay, I think we could probably bring this session to a close. It was good, chock full of information and nuggets. I think everyone can agree with that here. All right. So guys, it was great having you, and you all have a wonderful rest of the week.
Everybody have a blessed evening. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to interacting.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So next week, every Wednesday for your next 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, we will be doing a session like this, and we're getting a little deeper and a little bit deeper every week. All right. Okay. So I'll see you all. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, have a good evening, everyone.
All right. Good evening.